You damn player haters never wanna see me blow. Flamboyant entertainment, CEO. Yo, the spotlight is mine, it ain't his no more. When Lee come home, niggas can't.
Hey, what you watching? What's going on, y'all? It's been a little while since I posted a video, but it's been for good. Not for good as in time, but it's been for the good. You know, I've been building scene arrangements, added some new stuff. How y'all doing? I got a nice, fresh, well-being feeling, you know. I got on a straight jacket, but I ain't crazy. I'm just saying. Got some fun. It's a whole new year. It's February 1. I'm the Aquarian OG, and you should get to know me. Why? Because we be chilling. Yo, let's get right down to it. Felt like I rolled over a cord or something. Anywho, we, as you can see, have a new setup. I have been kind of wanting to separate, not kind of, I've definitely been wanting to separate myself from the other reactors. I don't want to just sit in a regular room. You know, some people got some good rooms to be sitting in, but mine is kind of like run of the mill. So, being as I came from the live streaming world, I utilized my green screen, utilized my scene, and now we're gonna do the thing. It actually kind of fit. I heard it in my head. It came out of my mouth. Yeah. Anyway, we got some good videos on the lineup for y'all. I'm excited to see what they say myself. If I watch a video, then we classify it as a talking point. If I don't, then it's a reaction video. As far as a schedule as to when you know when it's gonna be reaction versus talking point, I don't know. I'm just finding the videos as they come. It looks interesting to me, and might be interesting to somebody else out there. I mean, I got some. Speaking of requests, I was just about to mention requests, and it just crossed my mind. It's gonna be a little bit long intro because I ain't been here for a while, so you just gotta be patient. Just got to be patient. Got things to do. Anyway, I got some catching up to do. All right, so where was I at? I forgot what I was gonna say. I'm all scatterbrained. I'm excited. It'll hit me later. All right, let's get into this video. Americans living abroad. I've had the realization America messed you up. This video is on. When did you realize? First time you realize America really messed you up. And this is part one. These are a series of videos from TikTok. I think the names on the videos are showing. So if you want to go and follow somebody on TikTok, you know, go ahead and do so. I'm not trying to what's the word? Suppress anybody's growth as far as like followers or subscriptions, you know, people be all when you get into this universe of this streaming and this voice usage of like podcasts and you get like videos from like YouTube and reactors and all that stuff. There's some out there that understand that the pie is big enough for everybody to take their piece of pie. And then there's some out there that feel like they need to grub it all up. I don't understand that. There's billions of people on YouTube. There's billions of people in the streaming world. Find your niche, get your piece of the pie. Do what you do. Yeah, I did say this was going to be a little long. All right, I've been talking for about 5 minutes. Let's get on with this video. And we shall be watching something. If you haven't already sub, please help me grow and sub to the channel. Hit that like, hit that sub. Hit that like and that sub. Because we trying to grow. Yeah. I know I said a lot. It's because I'm trying to think of all the talking points that I didn't write down. And as I talk about talking points, more talking points come up, which is why I'm still talking. All right, all right, let's get to this video. I'm clowning around now. Oh, this side. And we have First Time You Realize America Really Messed You Up, Part 1.
If you're an American currently living abroad, what is one time that made you realize that America really...
So I've been living in New Zealand for the last 4 years, and at work there was an American flag, and I jokingly went and put my hand over my heart and said the Pledge of Allegiance, and everyone was kind of like, what is that?
She said jokingly,
and
right?
I was like, oh, it's a Pledge of Allegiance. So basically growing up every day at school at like 9 o'clock or whatever, we would all stand up and the whole class would recite the Pledge of Allegiance with our hands over our hearts to the American flag in the corner of the room. And
I was trying to doodle.
We're like, what? And, you know, when you say it out loud, it sounds a bit culty.
If you're an American currently...
It absolutely does. I pledge allegiance to the flag. Like, really? If you ever thought about that, I mean, I get the whole patriot thing, but if you ever thought about the act of that, like, it could fall in the line of a false idol. Very fine line when it comes to types of worship, I want to say. As a matter of fact, better yet, it's a fine line between normality and assumed normality heading into cultism. Because some people, I get patriotism. I would fight if we was invading. I mean, if we had gotten invaded too, I'd be in the American militia. I was born here, this dirt that I was born here, and you coming over trying to change my way of life, yada, 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 yada. You know how war does, you know. But, yeah. I'm not a huge, like, outwardly, like, patriot type, but I get it. I get it. Anyway, let's go to the next one.
Living abroad, what is one time that made you realize that America really...
So when I was in high school, I was a lifeguard, and during my lifeguard training, they taught us that before we even administer first aid or CPR, we had to ask for consent to avoid being sued. Now fast forward a couple of years, I'm in London as a waitress, and my company sends me to go do CPR training. And while I'm there, they go over the same stuff that I learned in the States, but I notice that they're completely glossing over this one particular area. So I raise my hand and I ask, what are the laws here? Like, how do you avoid being sued if something goes wrong? To which every single person in the room starts laughing at me and says, oh, you're American, right? Yeah, no one here is going to sue you for trying to save their life.
An American...
See, being a former EMT, I can still fall under the what was it? Not the Good Samaritan. Was it the Good Samaritan law? Or duty to act? Something like that. I think it's duty to act as a Good Samaritan. Something like that. They coincide and they twist up somehow, and it becomes this one jumbled mess in the middle. As a former, not licensed EMT, I could get in trouble if I was to be known to be, if somebody knew I had EMT training and I was at the scene of an accident, you know, as it happened, crunch, yada, 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 and everything, blah, 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 somebody's hurt. If I didn't do anything to help that person in that situation, and somebody, just because somebody's hurt or whatever that, and I have the training to do something about it, I could be sued just for not doing anything. But as a former, unlicensed right now, I haven't done any EMT training in freaking years, but I could be sued for not acting because I have knowledge. Like, what? What if I got my own emergency going on? Hey, this world is crazy. I usually, these days, try not to be out there. It's too much going on out there. And it really hit home as to how much is going on out there. My last trip at my last job when I was in Louisiana. Man, back to the story.
And currently living abroad, what is one time that made you realize that America really meant?
So in the U.S., I regularly get pneumonia. Sometimes I get like pneumonia and bronchitis, but pretty much all, like clockwork, I get it. I had just moved to Scotland for my master's, and I was coming down with a respiratory infection like I do every year.
This man must have some good ass insurance. He gets regular pneumonia, like regular pneumonia. That's a doctor bill and a half. Did you go to Ireland? Did he say Ireland? You go to Ireland for school? Number one, school is expensive as hell. You traveled abroad for your school? Big ups, player.
Early onsets of pneumonia, but like normally I wait to the point of where I'm like literally unable to breathe before I go to the doctor because it's expensive in the US. Well, here I was like, you know what? I'm here. I paid for the NHS. Let me go get it. Saw a doctor, gave me a prescription. I went to the pharmacy to pick up my medication, something that I literally would not be able to afford with my minimum wage job and being a full-time student.
Couple $100.
They gave it to me for free because it was necessary, and I almost cried in the pharmacy. Like,
free medicine? What a concept. Man, if I could get my asthma medicine for free, dude.
Like tears are welling in my eyes.
What is one time that made you realize that America really messed you up?
Okay, so I live in New York now, but I used to live in England, and one time I was out at this bar with my friends, and these two cops walked by. And one of my friends was like, oh, I wonder why there are cops out right now. And I looked at the cops, and I got really confused, and I was like, those are cops? And my friends were like, yeah. And I was like, they don't have guns. And everyone was like, why would they have guns? They were like so aghast at that question. And I was realized in that moment and learned that guns, there are so few guns in the UK, and it's such not an issue that like the everyday cop does not carry a gun. And I was just, there are houses in America that have seen more guns in them than a fresh vegetable.
So how does it work? Like, if a cop ain't got a gun, why the hell do you comply? I mean, like, I get it as being good people or good citizens, but over here, the police are characteristically known to escalate situations. It's almost abnormal to not have a gun pulled on you by the police. I've had several pulled on me by the police. That's why I don't really rock with them. I can't. Man, part of this new year, I'm gonna be telling y'all some of these police stories. 'Cause, man, yeah, it ain't just stories. I live some of that stuff. Yeah, the police don't have guns over there? Damn. That's crazy.
It blew my fucking mind.
I'm just blowing mine
think
right
about it all the
now.
time. I hate guns so much. I hate guns,
like guns
so much.
But
If
I
you're
ain't
an
all
American
crazy about it.
currently living abroad, what is one time that made you realize that America really...
In the U.S., I could not let my 11-year-old son go outside and play by himself. Someone
Man, what
would
neighborhood
call
you
the
live in?
cops or something would legitimately happen to him, and so there was no way. And when I moved to Germany, my husband, who's a German national, suggested that he go outside and play by himself because we would not have to worry.
If you're an American currently living abroad,
That's a
what is
neighborhood
one
thing right
time
there.
that made you realize that America really...
So I didn't realize this until I moved abroad, but Americans have a very strange concept of freedom. Like, when you're growing up, you're always told that America is such an amazing place and, you know, it's the land of the free, home of the brave, but like, I keep hearing these criticisms from people like, oh yeah, but America has the most freedom. Wow, yeah, freedom. I mean, there may be a few exceptions or nuances, but in the UK, you're still free. Like, that is the biggest lie that Americans are ever told, that there aren't other free places. Like, I don't understand. And if I'm being perfectly honest, I feel like the concept is kind of destroying American democracy.
Oh. Yeah. I'm gonna let that one sink in. That's several different talking points right there. Several. All shapes and colors. And I'm talking about literally. She dropped a bomb right there.
Ironic. Like, they need to kind of understand that they need to work on things to make themselves better and more free for their citizens.
American currently living abroad, what is one time that made you realize that America really messed you up?
Okay, so I'm not currently living abroad, but I did live in Australia.
Damn, she looked like somebody I know in real life. Just a younger version. Damn.
Australia for a few months.
For a second, I almost
And one night while I was there, I got a little bit too crazy, and I ended up on public transportation without a phone, and I had to find my way back to my apartment, and I got lost. And while I got off the tram to get onto a different tram to take me home, a middle-aged gentleman came up to me, and I immediately went into attack mode, and I was like going to kill him. And he was like, no, I was just going to tell you which tram to take to get back to Preston.
You paranoid.
And that was when I realized that in Australia, I didn't need to be afraid. Like, granted, take precautions, but I didn't need to be afraid of every man. But in America, I still am.
If you're in
She sounds like one of those all men types. Why? Only I'm gonna give her the benefit of the doubt and assume something happened to her drastically. Not social media opinionated that has her feeling like that, based on the fact that she went immediately into attack mode with a guy. She said he was middle-aged. Must have been somewhere around the, I don't know. I'm thinking there's a past, just their history. There's got to be a history with that, because that just don't make sense. Just to be like, just all of a sudden, social media, all afraid of all men. I know that. I was in TikTok. Check this out. I was in TikTok. I saw his comment. I saw his video. It was outright blame, and I just made the comment. Oh, what are we men being blamed for now, dude? I got attacked. I didn't know what side of TikTok I was on. These women came from, oh man, what are you guilty of? Yada yada. I bet he's. I'm just sitting there looking at these comments like, these chicks don't even know that in a crisis, I would be the first one to jump in the hole to get your ass out of the shit. But you go ahead and have that. You go ahead and have that. Because I'm assuming the all men types know all men. But, anyway, with her, I think there was an incident. But I had an incident with the all men types. Yeah. Quick little story.
an American currently living abroad, what is one time that made you realize that America...
So I don't live abroad anymore, but for half of 2018, I lived in Germany, and I have so many stories. The town that I lived in had like a main plaza area, and there was a cafe in that plaza, so a couple of my other American friends and I decided to try it out one day, and there was a construction site nearby. We heard a really loud bang, and, we kind of assumed that someone had fired a gun, and so we, ducked for cover, and then we were looking around frantically, trying to find, a place that we could run to or hide to get out of the situation, and then we realized that no one had shot a gun. No,
Probably
it was a
car
loud bang
backfiring.
from the construction site. That's it. That's all it was.
Or that too.
We'd been speaking in English, and we all have really obvious American accents, so all the Germans around us gave us these really sad looks like, oh, these poor, poor Americans.
I want to know where the hell everybody is growing the hell up at that you duck when you hear, like, I live in the hood and I don't do that. There's certain noises that you know is not a gun and is a gun, and hey, but where are these people living at that your regular day life is loud noise, you duck? Get out of there. And they ain't even been black. I had to put that in there. I'm like, wait a minute. Where are these folks living?
An American currently living abroad, what is one time that made you realize that America really messed you
Okay, so I moved to
Bam.
Sweden. And when I got here, I wasn't feeling too well, so I went to the doctor, and the doctor recommended that I get an EKG, an electrocardiogram. Instead of
Used to
worrying
do
about my
those.
health, my first reaction was, I'm sorry, I don't know if I can
How
get
much
one
does it
of those
cost?
because I don't know if I'm going to be able to afford it. And this sweet little man, this sweet, amazing doctor goes, did
What?
you not pay the like $20 when you got here? I ended up getting a regular EKG, a 24-hour-long
$20.
EKG, a blood test, and a freaking checkup for $20. Best part of this entire situation is that I am getting better and I am getting the medical attention I need without going broke.
What is one time that made you realize that
Damn.
America really messed you up?
I pride myself on being an American. I didn't make it out before COVID.
Truck driver. Women truck drivers is taking over. I'm telling you. There's some monsters out there. They get on the come up.
But I went to Norway, and I fell in love with Norway. I read about it,
Norway. That's one on my list.
researched it, and I was like, I've got to visit first. And I only went for a week, and it was for the Infernal Metal Festival. And for the first time in my life, I was actually called an American. They didn't assume where I was from. And there was this beautiful Norwegian elder, and she says, "God påske." And I said, "Beklager, jeg snakker litt norsk." And I said, basically, she said, "Happy Easter." And I said, "I'm sorry, I don't speak a lot of Norwegian." And she goes, "Oh, you're an American." And she didn't worry about her purse. She didn't look at me sideways. And I cried. I cried when I left because for the first time, I was able to be just an American. I didn't even hardly drink, didn't do anything crazy.
If you're an
I'm just thinking about all the flack that Germany's been catching because of the whole World War II thing. People not letting go. Freaking amazing. I want to talk about that, but I've been talking a lot, so thinking about that. Somebody to not clutch their purse when you're close to them because of this. It's major.
an American currently living abroad, what is one time that made you realize that America really...
So during the first lockdown, we have an elderly neighbor, and we would go and check in on her every once in a while and like get her groceries if she needed. And progressively, she started to not be able to breathe very well. And we knew it wasn't COVID because she had it before. But like at one point, it was like she couldn't even get to the door without like literally
Asthma,
not being able to
COPD.
breathe and having to sit down. So my partner decided that we needed to call an ambulance for her and get her to the hospital pronto. And when he told me that he was going to call an ambulance, the first thing that I said was, "Are you sure? Can she afford an ambulance? Like we could just drive her." And it wasn't until my partner looked at me like, and that it clicked that, oh, that's not a worry here. And then I went upstairs and cried because it really smacked me in the face that as Americans, we are conditioned to not worry about someone's health first, but to worry about whether or not they can financially afford to see a doctor.
You know what? The constant theme here.
And get help.
An American currently...
Check this out. Why is America like this? You got all these people have had these realizations, mostly due to medical bills. and resulting in crying and happiness. What the hell is that? Crying and happiness. That dead spider. That should tell you the toll that all this BS, big business, big pharma, yada, yada, yada is taking on people. This is, it ain't easy. These medicines out here, they don't want you to get well. They want you to keep getting treated. They ain't making no money off of cures. That's why this vet ain't even going to talk about it.
Living abroad, what is one time that made you realize that America really messed you?
So I moved to Germany in 2018 as a study abroad student, and I had a nice apartment that was on the ground floor with a nice patio, a big door that opened that led to the patio. And I was minding my own business in bed one day. The door was wide open. I had my noise-canceling headphones on, and I heard these really loud banging noises coming from outside that weren't very far. And I'm like, that's not a firework or a firecracker. It can't be. I freak out because as an American, I'm like, I'm about to get shot. Somebody is shooting up all of the student apartments right now. So I call all of my friends and I'm like, did you hear that? Am I crazy? Do we need to call the police and whatever? And they're like, I don't know, but yeah, maybe call your boyfriend who's German and like ask him. So I call my boyfriend and I'm like, Watchin, we just heard this stuff. Like, what's going on? And he's like, not to worry. Here in Germany, we don't have shooters. Those are probably just firecrackers. And I'm just like, I'm damaged. Like, we are all damaged and freaking out about freaking firecrackers. We think we're going to get shot up.
God, what is one time that...
See, this one video tells you the two key factors that a lot of Americans are probably really messed up at. Hearing guns, based on what you hear from the news, because I doubt these people live in really freaking areas that is just like where I'm at right now, is at any time of the day. There's a distinct noise between a firecracker and a gun, if you're used to hearing them. Otherwise, they sound the same. So I get where he's coming from, but where the hell are these people at that they have to, what the? See, the guns, the violence gets blamed mostly on this color skin, but none of this color skin is ducking in these stories hearing firecrackers, and this is wild. Where are these people at? What the hell? This right here tells you that it's not just a color problem. It's an American problem. And gun laws ain't gonna do nothing. There's too many guns out there. Gun laws, that ain't gonna work. That ain't gonna work. Stop with the gun laws. That only works for the people who are lawful. So, no. Where are these people living that they ducking from bullets and shooters? And I'm looking at this video like, dude, this is a whole nother perspective on the whole skin game with the whole assumptions of this and that. You know what I'm talking about. I ain't trying to get into no details. But you know what man, it's a whole...
It made you realize that America really messed you up.
Hey, I live in Ireland and I've lived most of my adult life here. I moved to Ireland in 1995. My teenage daughter was born here many years ago, and when she was born, I spent 2 nights in hospital before she was born. I had an emergency cesarean section, and then I spent a further 6 nights afterwards. The total cost to me was $0.
She's gonna say a couple $100. How you have a whole human for $0? What is it? I'm going to Ireland. I mean, I ain't going to Ireland. I ain't trying to have no C-section, but these costs are amazing. And I'm pretty healthy, so I would cost the country nothing. A thing of albuterol every once in a while. Oh, shit, man. This little thing, these little puffers of albuterol, you know how much these daggone things cost? Anywhere from $75 to $120 something. In that range. That's why I use this. I order these. It's a nebulizer. Goes in my pocket. Tasteless spray. It takes these little capsules in the back. I fill this little container up here with water. put this little droplet in there. I'll show you exactly what I do. Take these little droplets, this thing right here. It's like what you see if you ever had the nebulizer in the hospital. It's kind of like what the respiratory therapists use when they come and give you that little, it makes the steam and all that stuff. This little packet right here, this little drop, it's like about a drop, maybe two. You can see if you can see it in there. You can see the level. Take this, twist the top, pop that open. You'll actually put some water in there first, a little bit of water, because this is water soluble. So some water in here, leave you about an air bubble. Drop that in there, close this back up, put the cap back on that bad boy. And that's my asthma treatment. People often think that I'm vaping when they see me use it. I just let them think that. It's albuterol. And I get this box. I get a box of these for like 20 to 30 bucks, and there's like about 30 in them. About 30 of those capsules. I was gonna get the box, but I need to get this video back on. I'm getting side.
I kept asking them, like, are you sure no one wants my credit card? Like, do you want my details so you can send me the bill? And they would just like laugh, like, oh, you're American. There's no bill. So 8 nights in hospital, emergency procedure, zero bill.
American currently living abroad, what is one time that made you realize that America really messed you up?
Okay, I have another one. When I was studying in Spain, we had our orientation the first week of classes, and our program director sat us all down and had to explain our health insurance to us and how it worked. And basically it worked that you paid like €1,000 for the semester and you got health insurance, like free health insurance for everything, covered everything. And she had to sit us down, and she had this big group of Americans in a room, and she was like, listen, if you are sick, go to the doctor. And we were all like,
how much does it
yes.
cost?
And she was like, no, like Americans don't go to the doctor. You won't go to the doctor when you're sick. So I have to tell you every year to do this. And still kids will just put off going to the doctor because you're used to just like pushing through illness. No matter what it is, I don't care if it's a cold, go to the doctor. And she had to actually like spell that out for us.
What's a really weird thing that your body does that you're not sure anybody else's body does?
Since I was a little kid, I've been able to do this with my hands. Basically, I can crack all my fingers all the time, anytime. Watch.
Unusual.
It starts hurting after a while.
You may be a future candidate for some arthritis and them
Rich
joints,
Mom
buddy.
Starter Pack, Brooklyn Edition. So you and your indie movie director husband are loaded. You're too intellectual for Manhattan. So you move to Brooklyn. It's what you'll need to fit in with all the other rich moms. Honestly, you're going to need something subtle, like a $15 million townhouse in Park Slope. You'll need a car. You're going to get an Audi. Even though you're actually from Westchester, you identify as European. You'll need 40 pairs of Golden Goose, so all the other moms know you're casual. By casual, I mean you spend $530 on a pair of sneakers that look like they got run over. Tons of Ula Johnson. Don't actually make your kids' lunches. Just get Sakara delivered and redistribute it in little stasher bags. Don't forget, you're raising little Persimmon and Aristotle is vegan from birth. Starbucks is for tacky Manhattanites who make all your coffee in a Chemex and then carry it around in an Ember mug, plastic shaming everybody. Now, of course, you wouldn't be caught dead in the Hamptons, but you absolutely must get a converted modern farmhouse in Hudson. It's way more chic.
She said, damn. Plastic shame.
What is one time that made
That sounds like something you do to somebody who had too much surgery or something like that. Plastic shaming. There's all kind of shames out there. Like it's wild. Yo, this video is a hellified eye opener. It was more of an eye opener than I actually expected. I was looking like this gonna be funny. It's actually turned out to be kind of serious. Where I was planning on going today. But yeah. Yo. Hey, I'm going to end this right here, and I'm going to bring y'all part 2. And we're going to keep it going and make it do what it do. Yeah, didn't mean to rhyme that, but hey, that's how it turned out. When you just drop bars, just barful. Barful. Take this mic and start. No, I'm just playing. I'm about to make a song with this bad boy. Oh, yo. So if you ain't subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to grow this bad boy into doing something good. I want to get monetized, so I'm reaching for that 1,000. I ain't even shooting for them small. I just hit 200. I just hit 400. I'm going straight for the 1,000. We want the 1,000 right now. So we're going to be continuing to bring these shows. It's the 1st of Feb. I'm Aquarius. I figured it was a good time to come in off a break. I needed to take a break. I had to detox a little bit from social media. You got to do that every once in a while. If you don't do that every once in a while, give yourself a detox like every 9 months, maybe 6 to 9 months. Take 2 good ones a year. Yeah, you got to keep that mental straight because this social media stuff will mess you up. You can learn a lot of stuff off of social media, but it can also mess you up. Anyway, I'm going off topic. I'm talking a lot. I'm excited to be back. Now, if you think I was talking too much in this video, I couldn't help it. I'm sorry. Till next time, I'm Aquarian OG. And you should get to know me. We out of here. I'm going to see you real shortly with another video, so stay tuned. Stay tuned.